are also demanding independent investigation, accusing the Stalin government of shielding corruption and stonewalling investigators.
Viewers, in a move that nobody saw coming, the US Supreme Court has struck down President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs, dealing a major blow to a central pillar of his economic agenda. Now, in a landmark ruling, the court said that the president exceeded his authority under a 1977 law, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Now, Trump has also called the decision disgraceful. In fact, he has also hinted at a backup plan. Here's more on that story. Take a look.
Delivering a major setback, the Supreme Court ruled that President Donald Trump exceeded his authority in imposing sweeping tariffs under emergency powers. The decision strikes at the heart of what had been a central plank of Donald Trump's economic strategy. The court held that the aggressive tariff measures violated the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA. President Donald Trump addressed reporters hours after the Supreme Court struck down his emergency tariffs. Reacting sharply, Donald Trump described the ruling as disgraceful.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country.
Trump accused some justices of siding against American interests.
They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices. They're an automatic no matter how good a case you have. It's a no. It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think. It's a small movement.
He announced a new 10% global tariffs under Section 122.
My relationship with Prime Minister Modi is, I would say, great. I also stopped a war between India and Pakistan, as you know. There were 10 planes we shot down. That war was going, and probably going nuclear. And just yesterday, the Prime Minister of Pakistan said President Trump saved 35 million lives by getting them to stop. And I did it largely with tariffs. I said, look, you're going to fight, that's fine, but you're not going to do business with the United States, and you're going to pay a 200% tariff, each country. And they called up and they said, we have made peace.
The opinion was authored by Chief Justice John Roberts and backed by 3 liberal justices and 2 conservative colleagues. In the ruling, Roberts wrote that the president had exerted extraordinary unilateral power to impose tariffs of unlimited scope and duration. Further, Trump claimed his tariff policy prevented global tensions, including between India and Pakistan.
Nothing changes?
No, nothing changes. They'll be paying tariffs, and we will not be paying tariffs. Our deal with India is they pay tariffs. This is a reversal from what it used to be, as you know. India, I think Prime Minister Modi is a great gentleman, a great man, actually, but he was much smarter than the people that he was against in terms of the United States. He was ripping us off in India. So we made a deal with India, and it's a fair deal now, and we are not paying tariffs to them, and they are paying tariffs. We did a little flip.
Praising Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Trump stated India-US trade deal will continue to be the same. The verdict marks a rare setback for the Trump administration before a Supreme Court that holds a 6-3 conservative majority. With fresh tariffs now on the table, the battle over trade policy appears far from over, setting the stage for another legal and political showdown.
Viewers, shifting focus to the national capital now, Delhi is on a high alert following intelligence inputs warning of a possible terror threat near the Red Fort. Sources have indicated that terrorists may be targeting a temple in Chandni Chowk, with the Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Toiba reportedly behind the plot. This comes close to just 3 months after the Red Fort blast that rocked the national capital in November of last year. Here are all the details that we have on this. Take a look.
Delhi is on high alert. Surveillance has been intensified at temples, markets and historic sites. This after intelligence inputs warned of a possible terror threat near the Red Fort. Security agencies have stepped up vigilance in the national capital with heavy reinforcement deployed in multiple locations. As per intel, key religious sites including areas around the Red Fort and Chandni Chowk are reportedly on the radar of Lashkar-e-Toiba. Intelligence inputs suggest the terror outfit may be planning an IED attack in retaliation for the February 6th blast at a mosque in Islamabad. Meanwhile, intel sources also indicate that major temples in India could be potential targets of LET. The alert in Delhi comes to the backdrop of the deadly November 10th Red Fort blast, which killed 15 people last year. The deadly blast was caused by a car loaded with explosives near gate number 1 of the Red Fort metro station. It triggered fires in multiple nearby vehicles. A special NIA court recently extended the investigation period by 45 days, while the judicial custody of 7 accused has also been extended in the matter. Rapid response teams, bomb squads and local police are on high alert to prevent any untoward incident. On the other hand, citizens have been urged to stay vigilant and report any suspicious activity to police immediately. Security officials are also reviewing all movement near the Red Fort and Chandni Chowk to ensure public safety every minute. Delhi now remains on edge as security agencies race against time to thwart any possible terror attack.
Viewers, a food delivery rider was killed after a speeding car allegedly rammed into him in West Delhi Subhash Nagar in the early hours of Saturday, marking yet another fatal road accident in the national capital. Here's a report on that.
It was a usual Saturday morning for a food delivery rider, until a speeding car, driven by a man in inebriated condition, crashes into his bike. The incident took place early morning. The biker was critically injured. Passers-by alerted authorities, and the delivery guy was rushed to a nearby hospital. But it was too late. Doctors declared him brought dead at the hospital.
सर मैंने आया हूँ सर यहाँ मैंने काम करता हूँ सामने 2-2:30 बजे के बीच में गाड़ी टक्कर मारा सर स्पीड में, तो मैंने आवाज़ बड़ी तेज़ आई, तो यहाँ बंदा इधर से आ रहा था, गाड़ी कम से कम 100 की स्पीड से ज़्यादा था, इसके ऊपर गाड़ी चढ़ाई के वहाँ से लगन मार के लेके आए यहाँ तक सर। हाँ, पेड़ में टक्कर मारा, सामने खंभा मारा, बंदे गाड़ी छोड़ के भाग लिए गली में, तो हम लोग बंदे का पकड़ने चला गया, वहाँ से पकड़ के लेके आया, अभी पुलिस के हाथ में दिया, फिर वहाँ बंदे को पकड़ के लाने के बाद भी बंदा मर गया सर। उसको गाड़ी के नीचे से निकाला गया, बहुत मुश्किल से निकला बंदा। गाड़ी उठाई आप लोगों ने? हाँ, सारे मिल के गाड़ी उठाया, फिर पुलिस वाले डिंडियाल हॉस्पिटल भेज दी वो बंदे का, फिर बंदे का पकड़ा गया, गाड़ी वाले का सर तिलक नगर थाने में भेजा गया बंदा। लोग थे गाड़ी में 2 बंदे थे सर। नशे में थे? हाँ, ड्रिंक कर रखे थे, नशे में थे। हाँ, काफ़ी बंदे थे। और सर बताओ, ये रोड पर जितने बंदे हैं चलाने वाले सब नशे में फुल उल्टा सीधा गाड़ी चलाते हैं, गाड़ी ऐसे चला रहा था।
Police is probing the matter. Accused driver Mohit Kumar was immediately taken into custody. FIR has been registered and further legal action is underway. Meanwhile, CCTV footage is also being examined to ascertain the sequence of events.
Viewers, the nephew of the late Deputy Chief Minister and NCP-SCP leader Rohit Pawar has once again raised serious questions over the Ajit Pawar plane crash case, alleging possible conspiracy and demanding accountability to the highest level. Take a look at this. Nephew of the late Deputy Chief Minister and NCP-SCP leader Rohit Pawar has once again raised serious questions over the Ajit Pawar plane crash case. Speaking to the media, Rohit Pawar said the crash could involve either a political or a commercial conspiracy. He questioned whether influential individuals were protecting the company allegedly responsible for the incident. Pawar further alleged that several powerful individuals, including officials from the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, may be linked to the company in question.
जो कंपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबल है, जैसे VSR रिस्पॉन्सिबल है, उसको अगर कोई सपोर्ट कर रहा है, उसको अगर कोई बचा रहा है, वो भी एक कॉन्स्पिरेसी हो सकती है. इसलिए इतने पावरफुल लोग इस कंपनी के पीछे है, DGCA के बहुत बड़े अधिकारी इसके पीछे है. लेकिन आज की जो प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस है, उसके माध्यम से हमारी एक बहुत बड़ी मांग है कि ये जो मंत्री है, एविएशन मिनिस्टर, उनका रेजिग्नेशन, ये डेफिनेटली हम उनकी मांग करते हैं कि उनका रेजिग्नेशन लिया जाए.
He claimed that only the country's top leadership can ensure a fair investigation. He also announced that he would send a formal letter to the Prime Minister seeking intervention and demanded the resignation of the Union Aviation Minister. The allegations have intensified political heat around the crash case, with demands for an independent and transparent probe now growing louder.
मैम नीचे देखिए
Amity has been ranked amongst the top 3% universities globally, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked quality.
Pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी चाहे जो भी हो.
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता. टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार. MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला. MDH.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल. ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े. क्या निराला MDH मसाला.
The AI summit is on. The focus is even more on AI, and with this talk of AI boom, jobs going, Vinod Khosla has made a comment which has created further panic in a panic-stricken environment. In my view, not necessary. He's a well-known tech billionaire and venture capitalist. He says IT and BPO services will completely disappear.
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी चाहे जो भी हो.
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा,
रानी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
The AI summit is on. The focus is even more on AI, and with this talk of AI boom, jobs going, Vinod Khosla has made a comment which has created further panic in a panic-stricken environment. In my view, not necessary. He's a well-known tech billionaire and venture capitalist. He says IT and BPO services will completely disappear over the next 5 years. And then he says something as prophetic as all jobs will disappear in 50 years. Now, this is not an offhand remark. Vinod Khosla is the founder of Khosla Ventures, established 2004, deep investments in AI.
राहुल जी, जनरल नरवणे ने कहा है कि वो आप गलत कह रहे हैं। राहुल जी, जनरल नरवणे ने कहा कि आप गलत कह रहे हैं। भारत से कहीं पर कब्जा नहीं हुआ। और राहुल जी, जनरल नरवणे ने कहा है कि आप गलत कह रहे हैं, गलत आर्टिकल का हवाला दे रहे हैं, भारत की जमीन पर कब्जा नहीं कर रहे हैं। जनरल नरवणे ने कहा है कि आपने अज्ञात सूत्रों का हवाला दिया है, भारत की जमीन पर कब्जा नहीं हुआ है। राहुल जी, आपने गलत कहा था, जनरल नरवणे ने कहा कि अज्ञात सूत्रों का हवाला।
मैम नीचे देखिए, नीचे देखिए।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Thank you for joining us on the long form story, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Niranjan, and tonight on the show, the biggest stories of the last week from the heartland of Madhya Pradesh, a story we brought to you. A chilling investigation carried out by Republic as women were laid out like cattle on the ground and sterilized in shocking conditions. An eye-opener, a story that went largely unreported by the rest of the media. Republic gets you a long-form report. Who authorized that sterilization? Who looked away? Next up on the show, in the tense buffer zones of Manipur, the silence is deceptive. From Madhya Pradesh, we go to Manipur, where violence has resurfaced, and for the first time on national television, we enter the buffer zones of Manipur. That show is also lined up. The entire story, the report from the heart of Manipur, lined up on the show. And next up in United Kingdom, there's a dramatic twist in the Epstein Royal saga. He's referred to as the Epstein Royal, the first in 400 years to be arrested. There are fresh developments in the shadow of Jeffrey Epstein and the renewed scrutiny around Andrew, who was dramatically arrested this week. And next up, across the border, tensions are escalating. Pakistan has issued a démarche to Taliban. It's a diplomatic warning and maybe even a prelude to something far more dangerous, perhaps. It's a new war loading. And finally, we get to the story from Kerala, where another human trafficking racket has been busted. The network, the victims, the masterminds, the questions, and a report on how men and women were trafficked to Jordan. 5 stories investigated on the long form in the last week. We just told you the poor don't matter in Madhya Pradesh. That story is first up. Manipur's buffer zones lined up on the long form story in just a few minutes. Everything you need to know about Andrew, the mention in the Epstein files, and the first royal to be arrested in 400 years. A new war loading between Pakistan and Afghanistan likely. We get you a report on what exactly is happening as tensions escalate. Story from Kerala as people are trafficked and the traffickers get away. All of last week, ladies and gentlemen, we brought you pictures from Dhar in Madhya Pradesh. But at a government sterilization camp, women, the poorest of poor, were brought and made to undergo sterilization in pathetic conditions. A wake-up call for our healthcare. And this was happening at a time when the state government in Madhya Pradesh has been under intense scanner on the back of the water poison deaths. And the story we bring to you tonight is of the 180 women who underwent sterilization in about 6 to 8 hours, which means it's roughly 2 minutes per sterilization in pathetic conditions in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Now, we went to Dhar in Madhya Pradesh to bring you this investigative report. Take a look.
These are the pictures from the Bagh Community Health Center in Dhar district, Madhya Pradesh. The only medical center in a long stretch. 1 week ago, a sterilization camp was organized by the state government. A procedure referred to as Nasbandi, which should take at least 30 minutes, were completed in 2 minutes each.
धार जिले के बाघ सामुदायिक स्वास्थ्य केंद्र में गंभीर लापरवाही उजागर हुई है। कुछ घंटों में 175 महिलाओं की नसबंदी करा दी जाती है। ये हॉस्पिटल है, सामुदायिक स्वास्थ्य केंद्र है और यहाँ पर हम आपको दिखाते हैं कि किस तरह से 3 घंटे में 175 महिलाओं के ऑपरेशन तो करे, नसबंदी उनकी कर दी गई और उसके बाद उन्हें कहाँ पर, ये वो स्पॉट है जहाँ पर महिलाओं को खुले में लिटा दिया गया। ये जो आप हॉस्पिटल के अंदर की जगह देख रहे हैं, ये जो परिसर है यहाँ पर ही खुले में जो महिलाएं हैं उन्हें लिटा दिया गया था। यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हैं गंदगी का भी अंबार है। यहाँ इसी गंदगी के बीच इतनी चिलचिलाती धूप में 13 तारीख को एक जो महिलाएं हैं जो नसबंदी कराने आई थी उनको इस तरह से यहाँ पर लिटा दिया जाता है। लेकिन आप समझ सकते हैं कि एक सामुदायिक स्वास्थ्य केंद्र में जहाँ पर कि यहाँ कम आर्थिक रूप से कमजोर लोग नसबंदी कराने आते हैं, सरकार की योजना है उसी के तहत वो यहाँ पर ऑपरेशन कराने आते हैं, लेकिन उन्हें जमीन पर लिटा दिया जाता है। बेड नहीं होते हैं, बेड की व्यवस्था नहीं की जाती है। नियमों को ताक पर रखकर एक दिन में कुछ घंटों में 175 नसबंदी कर दी जाती है, जो कि मध्य प्रदेश स्वास्थ्य विभाग की बड़ी लापरवाही को उजागर करता है।
Around 180 women arrive with children and relatives. Witnesses report limited drinking water, inadequate seating, and shortage of beds. Every laid down rule of medical ethics were violated because the state is not equipped to give adequate health care. All safety and medical protocols were ignored to rush through surgeries.
हम आपको एक चार्ट दिखाते हैं। इस सामुदायिक स्वास्थ्य केंद्र के बाहर आप इस चार्ट को देखिए। परिवार नियोजन के लिए प्रोत्साहित करने का ये पूरा एक चार्ट है जिसमें बताया गया कि अगर पुरुष व्यक्ति नसबंदी कराता है तो हितग्राही को 3000 रुपए मिलेंगे, मतलब जो नसबंदी कराता है उसे 3000 मिलेंगे, और प्रेरक को 400 रुपए मिलेंगे। मतलब पुरुष को नसबंदी के लिए प्रेरित करने वाले को 400 रुपए मिलेंगे। महिला नसबंदी अगर कराती है तो उस हितग्राही को 2000 रुपए सरकार की तरफ से दिए जाएंगे और इस महिला को प्रेरित करने वाले के लिए 300 रुपए रखा गया है। मतलब ये कि जो हॉस्पिटल में नसबंदी के लिए महिला को या पुरुष को लाते हैं उनको प्रोत्साहन राशि दी जाती है।
The scale intensifies concern. A private surgeon, Dr. Rakesh Davar, was reportedly assigned a very high number of procedures. He arrived at the center only around 3 p.m. and was tasked with 180 procedures. Staff indicated operations were conducted at a rapid pace, raising questions about safety protocols.
सर डॉक्टर बड़वाने से बुलवाया है, डॉक्टर राकेश डावर। ये सर्जन है, 2 मिनट में एक ऑपरेशन कर देते हैं। तो हमारे 175 केस है, कम से कम 3-3.5 घंटे में पूरा कर देंगे।
तो इसके पहले क्या क्या जांचें करेंगे?
इसके पहले हमने जांच कराई, प्रेगनेंसी टेस्ट करवाया, बीपी लिया, खून की जांच करवाई, शुगर बीपी दोनों करवाया। फिर उसके बाद महिला को वहाँ ऑपरेशन के लिए भेजा। वहाँ पे महिला को इंजेक्शन लगता है टेस्ट के लिए, जाइलोकिन इंजेक्शन का टेस्ट होता है, एड्रेनलिन का टेस्ट होता है, ताकि किसी भी महिला को तकलीफ ना हो।
What is even more infuriating is the sheer nonchalance of the officials involved. Dr. Veerbhadra Singh Mubail, the responsible officer of the health department, was not even present at the camp. He arrived after the staff informed him about the media's arrival, saying he was in a meeting, unaware 180 women were being sterilized.
कितनी महिलाओं की एक दिन में नसबंदी की जाती है?
केस मैक्सिमम करा सकते हैं,
30 केस मैक्सिमम करा सकते हैं। तो 175 क्यों करा दी गई, इसका कोई वजह क्लियर हो पाया?
अब क्यों करा दे वो तो उस समय वाले बता पाएंगे, मैं तो उस समय प्रभार में था नहीं।
अच्छा सर, ये पूछ रहे हैं कि जब ये नसबंदी कराई गई 175 महिलाओं की, तो उसके बाद यहीं पर खुले में महिलाओं को लिटा दिया गया था, अव्यवस्थाएं थी, तो ऐसे में कितना खतरा होता है संक्रमण का?
हाँ, थोड़ा बहुत संक्रमण का तो रहता है। जैसे केस बढ़ते थोड़ा रख रखाव में व्यवस्था में भी डिस्टर्ब होती है, लेकिन ऐसा कोई पोस्ट ऑपरेटिव कॉम्प्लिकेशन या अभी तक कोई दूसरा कोई कॉम्प्लिकेशन से हमारे पास है ऐसा कुछ नहीं, सभी केस सुरक्षित है।
Some of these tribal women came in at 8 a.m. Delays stretched to 4 p.m. Lying on the ground without beds, no post-surgery, lying on cement slabs in the scorching sun, thirsty and hungry.
जो नीचे लेटी है महिला है, परेशान हो रही है, गर्मी लग रही है, टेंट नहीं लगा।
हाँ, वो तो नहीं मिल रही है, नहीं मिल रही है, तो सुविधा पूरी नहीं मिल रही।
Women treated like cattle. The negligence meted out to women at the sterilization camp raises serious questions about the entire health system. Local workers describe strained arrangements and call for stronger facilities. After the matter came to light, Chief Medical Health Officer Dr. Anita Singari stated that the violation was illegal. The block medical officer has been attached to district headquarters pending investigation.
ये लापरवाही हुई है। शासन के निर्देशों के अनुसार हमें 30 नसबंदी ऑपरेशन एक दिन में करने थे, लेकिन वहाँ पर जिन लोगों की जिम्मेदारी थी उनके द्वारा 30 की लिमिट को क्रॉस करते हुए कुल 173 लोगों का ऑपरेशन किया गया है, और जो कि निर्धारित मानकों के अनुसार गलत है।
क्यों ऐसा किया? जो बीएमओ है, ब्लॉक मेडिकल ऑफिसर है, उन्होंने ऐसा क्यों किया? क्या उनके कोई निजी हित है इसमें, या क्या वजह आपको लग रही है?
173 लोग तो निजी तो नहीं हो सकते हैं, है ना, किसी भी बीएमओ के, और सभी अलग अलग
हित है क्या कोई उनका? आखिर उनको ऐसा क्या था कि 30 की लिमिट, वो उनको नियम तो पता होंगे, फिर ऐसा क्यों किया?
हाँ, उसके लिए हमने खंड चिकित्सा अधिकारी को कारण बताओ नोटिस जारी किया है, उनका जवाब आएगा, उसके हिसाब से फिर हम आगे का कार्य करेंगे।
The disclosure has not only sparked local outrage, but also raised questions over patient health safety and medical protocol. Government health camps remain a key source of medical access in tribal regions of Madhya Pradesh. But the Dhar incident has held a mirror to the government, showing that access is not enough if not balanced with infrastructure and patient safety. This is criminal negligence, systemic failure dressed as family planning. But this is not an isolated incident. this is just another case of state-sponsored negligence. Earlier, in Madhya Pradesh's Indore, water contamination led to multiple deaths and health crisis. Republic's boots on the ground reporting uncovered that a sewage leakage triggered the diarrhea and vomiting outbreak. With open pits on the roads acting as death traps in New Delhi to slabs falling in an under-construction metro line in Mumbai, killing one and injuring 3 others, cases of civic apathy is on the rise. The question that remains is how long will citizens need to suffer and how many more deaths till the authorities finally decide to wake up.
Another big headline last week. That of a dramatic image of a man called Andrew, a so-called former prince in the UK, seen slumped in the back of a car outside a police station in the United Kingdom. And that picture has ignited a debate over accountability at the highest levels of the British monarchy. The arrest of the former royal, long shadowed by allegations, controversy, scandals, marking an unprecedented moment in British royal history. He was detained for hours, released under investigation, and that case has triggered questions about political scrutiny, police inquiries, questions about his role, Andrew's role within the institution centered at Buckingham Palace. As he finds a mention, his name finds hundreds of mentions in the Epstein files. And his brother, Charles, the so-called King of UK, has called for the law to take its course, and Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, reiterates that nobody is above the law. The fallout of the Epstein files is beginning to play out across the world, and it seems to have started with Andrew.
A picture that's taken the internet by storm. A former prince, a royal, slumped in the back of a car outside Aylsham police station in Norfolk. The shell-shocked, disbelieving, haunted face of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has now become part of how his arrest will forever be remembered. The counterpart to this visual, one taken almost 25 years ago, of a smiling, confident prince beside a 17-year-old Virginia Jeffrey in London townhouse. In this contrast lies the catch. For the first time in modern history, a senior royal is being treated like a common criminal. Virginia Jeffrey, all of a tender 17 years in that picture, clicked by Epstein himself, accused Mountbatten Windsor and now convicted sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell of sexually abusing her when she was a minor. A claim that the former prince staunchly denies. But in his arrest came a win for all those disappointed with the system, and a lack of action taken in the aftermath of the release, albeit partial, of the Epstein files.
We should absolutely commend the King, and we should commend the UK on how they've been handling the situation thus far. I can only relate in certain ways with how hard that would be to go up against one of your own relatives, specifically your brother. But yes, I think we have a long way to go here. There are dominoes that need to continue to fall here. My sister named over 40 men in her depositions. I think she's case in point where she's proven to be a truth teller. She had no reason to lie. She came forward because it was like the most basic level. She came forward because she wanted to protect the next generation, to inspire others to really realize that an ordinary girl can absolutely do extraordinary things. And she's proving that to the world today. So I hope that we take a closer look at Virginia's depositions. I think we should take a closer look at our survivor sisters and their depositions and what they've given already to our own government. And at this point, The real question is, when are we going to start believing survivors?
Well, I think the questions are still ongoing, aren't they? I mean, I do, absolutely. There's a thing I saw today, just before you phoned, I saw something else that said that Epstein had tried to arrange a £1 million payout from some organisation that he was negotiating with. It also said today on the UK news that his Andrew, not Prince Andrew, let's not call him that, Andrew, his top aide, had done a secret deal with China. So there's a lot of nefarious activity going on here. And I think it will all come out. I think, I know they've also, the Congress, US Congress has requested that he does go to America to be questioned by Congress, and he should go in the same way that Peter Mandelson should go. Anyone involved in this who is named in any way whatsoever should go to Congress, and I don't think it's acceptable to say, oh, you can just do it online. I don't think that's right. I think for the sake of the royal family, as I said only yesterday, the fact he threw them under a bus and everybody else who trusted him, then I, without fear or favour, he should be made to go like anybody else would. And I don't know whether he can be subpoenaed to go, but of course it is ongoing, and of course there's going to be this has got legs to run, this story, and we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg at this stage.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor truly is no stranger to controversy. His latest arrest on the occasion of his 66th birthday, no less, on suspicion of misconduct in public office, dating back to his time as UK's trade representative. A series of allegations follow, prompted by the release of Epstein files. And it was this association to Epstein itself that led to his decade-long service as UK's trade representative coming to an end. His arrest is as reiterated before, just the latest development in a years-long saga over his dealings with Jeffrey Epstein, which has plunged the British monarchy into its biggest crisis in decades. For 11 hours, he was detained and then, with no charges, was released but under investigation. As for Andrew, he continues to harp, denying consistently and strenuously any wrongdoing.
The arrest of the former Prince Andrew is highly significant for Donald Trump and the American judicial system. We're seeing that European countries are treating this very differently. Norway has charged gross misconduct to its former prime minister, and Prince Andrew spent 11 hours in police custody yesterday, the first royal arrested since 1647. Now, he has not been formally charged with anything, but the investigation is about official misconduct in him apparently providing confidential government information to Jeffrey Epstein when the former prince was a trade negotiator for the British government. This is a very serious charge under British law. Potentially, he could get life in prison, though I doubt anything like that will happen. King Charles has utterly separated himself. Now, on one level, the royal family always looks out for what people call the firm. But the king did not offer a single word of sympathy or support for his brother, only for law enforcement and support for law enforcement. So clearly, Andrew has been hung out to dry. Now, why does this matter in the U.S.? Well, the Trump administration has been lying and covering up. The Epstein Files Disclosure Act that Donald Trump first opposed and then signed into law requires that everything be disclosed except the identities of victims of the sex trafficking and child rape ring that was run by Jeffrey Epstein.
In fact, the Metropolitan Police says it is contacting Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's protection officers, asking them to consider whether anything they saw or heard while working for the former prince, which may be relevant to the ongoing inquiries. And on the other hand, Thames Valley Police is continuing to search Andrew's former Windsor home, Royal Lodge.
The arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew, compels us to refocus our attention where it most urgently belongs, on the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. As an author and publisher of the Universal News Network, based in Palm Beach, Florida, I wish to express profound empathy for those whose lives were irreparably altered by Epstein's exploitation. Epstein's Palm Beach mansion near Mar-a-Lago was demolished 5 years ago after his suicide. Andrew's arrest and detention in the UK on suspicion of misconduct in public office stems from allegations that Andrew shared sensitive UK trade and investment information with Epstein during his tenure as the United Kingdom's Special Representative for International Trade and Investment between the years of 2001 and 2011. And newly released US documents, Department of Justice documents, including emails from that period, appear to substantiate these claims, prompting UK authorities to act decisively. This arrest connects directly to Andrew's documented, decade-long association with Epstein, encompassing flights on the financier's private aircraft, visits to his residences, and sustained contact even after Epstein's 2008 conviction in Florida. While the current probe focuses on potential breaches of official duties rather than sexual misconduct, it inevitably revives scrutiny of the broader Epstein network and its methods of influence.
Sparked consequently are conversations surrounding whether Andrew could be removed from the line of royal succession.
Any conversations about the point that you just raised are, complicated and will have to be, discussed in the future. But right now, there's a live investigation the police are undertaking, and it's really important that that investigation is able to continue without any interference, with its integrity intact. And so we need to step back and let that police investigation play out.
But for the British monarchy, it seems as tough stepping back is no longer an option. Reports suggest the UK government is now moving beyond discussions and is actively considering a high-stakes legislative strike. And if this removal from the line of succession is successful, it would be the first forced removal via legislation since the 1936 abdication of Edward VIII.
Donald Trump wants everyone to talk about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor because he doesn't want people to talk about the remainder of the Epstein files and the other powerful men, including himself, who might be named there. It's notable that the fullest information that we have from the limited release of the files, and of course less than half the pages were released and even they were heavily redacted, that the fullest information we have is about non-Americans in connection with Jeffrey Epstein's pedophilia and his financial crimes. That includes not only Andrew, it includes a former British ambassador to the United States, Peter Mandelson. It includes a sheikh in the Gulf who has had to resign as the head of the world's largest containers company. But the rest of the files that could identify especially Americans, they have been withheld. From the small fragments that have come out, we do know a couple of things that could be bad for Donald Trump and his associates. We know that an 86-page document which listed the potential co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein, those who might be complicit in his crimes, that document was uploaded to the Justice Department website and then it was removed a few hours later. But before it was removed, a site called Midas Touch was able to upload the document. So we know the identities of some of the people who were named in that.
What did his family have to say on it? King Charles said the law must take its course in seemingly a difficult personal moment for the king to set such a public distance between himself and his younger brother. As is famously said, nobody is above the law, and soon it seems nobody will be above the line of succession either.
Nearly 3 years after ethnic violence scarred the state of Manipur, questions remain over the so-called buffer zones that cut through communities along a key highway. Along National Highway 2 in Manipur, what should be a lifeline now resembles a monitored corridor with barricades, escorts, and regulated crossings shaping daily movement. The administration in Manipur maintains that these buffer zones have been dismantled. But our ground report on Republic TV suggests otherwise. Our correspondent in Manipur, Lin Thoy, traveled across the critical stretches inside these buffer zones to examine whether they ensure security or they deepen divisions in Manipur. This is a long-form special broadcast from Manipur.
This is National Highway 2 in Manipur, a strategic lifeline that today stands scarred by division. These visuals are not of an international border separating two nations. They capture an internal demarcation, an official yet rigid divide cleaving two communities within the same state. Republic correspondent Lin Thoy traveled this sensitive corridor to examine what remains of these buffer zones.
Manipur has been facing a lot of hurdles during this ongoing conflict since May 3rd, 2023. After the government formation on February 4th, 2026, the movement of Meitei to the Kangpokpi area has partially lifted. Meiteis cannot move freely inside the Kangpokpi area without security. Despite Kuki MLA has become a deputy CM, the restriction has still partially imposed in this area.
These on your screen are the three critical stretches of this buffer zone that continue to function as de facto separation lines nearly 3 years after violence engulfed Manipur. The administration insists the buffer zones have been dismantled. The ground reality suggests otherwise. Movable barricades, layered security cordons, regulated crossings. The architecture of separation remains intact. But is it enhancing security or deepening the divide years after the conflict?
The presence of barricade has been decreased. In Kangpokpi National Highway and Imphal West, there is no more buffer zone, or there is no more, barricades. In Thoubal to Tainopal district, in Palel, there is no more barricade. So it is now only in Churachandpur and Bishnupur district along Imphal-Churachandpur road, only some checkpoints and barricades are there. Other than that, there is no checkpoint or barricade there in Ukhrul Road, Imphal-Ukhrul Road. There is no checkpoint in Imphal to Jiribam Road. So it is only now decreased, confined only to Churachandpur, Imphal Road. So that is purely for security purpose, and with the with the absence of mob violence anymore, I think that will also go away very soon in due course.
Our first stop, the Palel Buffer Zone, the long stretch that runs along National Highway 102. Republic reached the exact spot, and here's what we saw.
As you can see, here we can see the movable police barricade here, metal police barricade over there, and that is the invisible buffer zone between Meitei and Kuki community. A person from Meitei community cannot cross that area, and a person from Kuki community cannot cross this area. So it is an invisible buffer zone divided between Meitei community and the Kuki community.
Residents declined to speak on record, citing fear of reprisals from armed groups operating in the vicinity. Silence here is not identical. It is imposed by circumstance.
Palel is no sort of reflection of the other important areas. Palel is just a junction, a marketplace, and I'm surprised that there's free movement around there, and one has to get it to the bottom of why, how this is happening. For the rest of us who are in the parts of our areas, this is quite enigmatic. This should not happen. I'm not saying that there should be killing and shooting and all that, but the buffer zones are the only points where both sides of the communities are kept safe.
Next, we reached Kanglatong Big Buffer Zone, situated in Imphal West District, bordering Mountbatten in Kangpokpi District. A long stretch along National Highway 02. This area is predominantly Nepali. It is also home to several other communities, including Kukis, Meiteis, and Nagas. What was once an uninterrupted highway now resembles a monitored corridor.
Right now I'm in Kanglatong B, which falls under Imphal West District. Next to this is Mountbatten, which falls under Kangpokpi District, which is mainly dominated by Kuki communities. Meanwhile, in Kanglatong B, Naga, Nepali and Meitei are coexisting together without any conflict, without any tension among them.
Local from Kanglatong B told us about the movements in buffer zone.
अभी बफर जोन गवर्नमेंट के साइड से नहीं तो मतलब मेरे अथॉरिटी के साइड से बफर जोन अभी नहीं है, लेकिन हमारा इधर में ग्राउंड रियलिटी में अभी भी बफर जोन चल रहा है। दोनों तरफ का पार्टी इधर उधर घूमने में अभी नहीं हो रहा है। मतलब इधर हमारा एरिया में अभी हमारा ये इमा कैथल एक बड़ा मार्केट है, इसमें मैती कम्युनिटी आने में अभी मैती कम्युनिटी थोड़ा आ रहा है, लेकिन ये कम्युनिटी इधर में आ नहीं सकता है, तो इसके वजह से हमारा इकोनॉमी भी डाउन हो गया।
Military and political implications that it has with this very term buffer zone. But as per my experience over the recent past, when we met with the Honorable Governor of the state, Mr. A.K. Bhallaji, at his Lok Bhavan office in January 12th, I have categorically asked him if there is a buffer zone or not. And he said there is no buffer zone. Buffer zone cannot be created between the same administration jurisdictions. So there is no point of creating a buffer zone. Of course, there is a security line to secure the civilian populations, because there needs to maintain certain distance so that any anti-peace elements or terror elements should not be able to target and reach up to the neighboring civilian population or people.
The Phogakchao Ikai, the buffer zone located near Churachandpur, once an epicenter of Manipur crisis. Tensions still remain high in Phogakchao Ikai. Though the government claims there are 3 buffer zones, what Republic saw tells us a different story.
This area is very close to Churachandpur district. Phogakchao Ikai falls under the Bishnupur district. Next to Phogakchao is Kangwai and Torbung Bangla. Torbung is there, Bangla is there, which falls under. I'm now at Phogakchao Ikai in Bishnupur district. This area is very close to the Churachandpur. So from here, next to Phogakchao is Kangwai, and then the next is Torbung, then Bangla, which all falls under this Bishnupur district. No one can enter freely passing these barricades.
We have also seen that the measures, security measures being taken up in the hill areas are not very efficient and effective. Several unregulated arms are being, carried and many of the youths are holding arms, and terrorist activities are being still carrying out in the hill areas, which is yet to be controlled and contained. So as long as these elements are being left like that in the hill areas, we are not optimistic about restoring peace in its real terms.
3 years after the Manipur violence, the new cabinet is in power. Yet the start of 2026 has already seen tensions flare across multiple districts. Many question the existence of buffer zones. But are they a need of the hour or the new normal of Manipur?
Tensions escalating again between Islamabad and Kabul. This is after a deadly attack in Bajaur left at least 11 Pakistani soldiers dead in the last week. Pakistan has now issued a formal diplomatic démarche to the Taliban administration in Afghanistan, alleging that it was terrorists from the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan who operated from Afghan soil, an allegation they've been making for years now, a charge which Kabul has strongly denied for the longest time. And this latest flashpoint along the Durand line has revived long-standing tensions with fresh political claims, regional implications, drawing in India as well. Here's a long-form report on the growing strain along the Pakistan-Afghanistan frontier and whether we are running into another season of war.
Tensions sharpen again between Islamabad and Kabul. By the time the smoke settles in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's Bajaur, 11 Pakistani soldiers, including one civilian, lie dead. Islamabad points fingers right across the border. It issues a formal démarche to the Taliban regime. A diplomatic protest delivered in Islamabad over what it calls the use of Afghan soil for terror attacks. Islamabad says the attackers operated from Afghan soil. They belonged to Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, the TTP. The accusation was immediate, direct, and unambiguous. Following the attack, Pakistan's Foreign Office summoned the Afghan deputy head of mission in Islamabad. Islamabad demanded a verifiable action against militants.
Pakistan issued a formal diplomatic protest, which is basically a démarche to the Afghanistan-Taliban regime, following a terror attack on the military camp in North Waziristan, where 4 Pakistani soldiers were killed. And what Pakistan claims is that it is this attack has been carried out by Kharji Gul Bahadur group, which is linked to Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. So as a result, what diplomatic action that Pakistan has taken is that it has summoned the deputy head of the mission to Pakistan in the Ministry of Affairs in Islamabad.
Sadly, there has been terrorism increase in Pakistan itself. Imagine the perpetrator, originator and harborer of the terrorism, the creator of terrorism is going through terrorism itself. And what a joke when they are saying they gave a demarch order to the Taliban government. That same very Taliban government which they had been supporting, which they had been creating for the terrorism. It is none other, their own defense minister had acknowledged that for the US they did the dirty job.
Bajour is not the only flashpoint of this clash. The strain has remained between the two from not days or months but years. Pakistan's obsession of bringing India into this picture was not a surprise. Within days, Pakistan's Defence Minister Khwaja Asif brings India into the frame. On October 9, 2025, Pakistan carried out airstrikes inside Afghanistan targeting TTP. Each side accused the other of harboring militants. Khwaja Asif alleges that India and Afghanistan are aligned against Pakistan.
जिस मट्टी में से उनको फायदा मिल रहा है, जिस मुल्क से, जिस सरजमीन से उनको फायदा मिल रहा है, उस मुल्क के साथ दुश्मनी कर रहे हैं। सर, ये अब बर्दाश्त नहीं होगा। हमें यकसू होके मिनहसुल कौम जो है जवाब देना पड़ेगा इन लोगों को जो उनको पनाहगाहें मुयस्सर करते हैं, चाहे वो हमारी सरजमीन पे हैं या वो अफगानिस्तान की सरजमीन के ऊपर हैं। इसमें किसी को कोई शक नहीं होना चाहिए। अगर किसी गांव से या किसी पनाहगाह से 4 या 5 या 10 या 15 आदमी निकल के हमारे किसी फौजी काफले के ऊपर जो है हमला करते हैं, उसका जवाब जो है हो सकता है सबको सब साथ कोलैटरल डैमेज भी हो।
This is not the first time that Khwaja Asif has invoked India during Pakistan-Afghanistan tensions. But this time the clash comes amid active cross-border strain. New Delhi responded firmly. It reiterated its position on terror and dismissed the allegations.
Our ties with Afghanistan, you know where we are in our relations with Afghanistan, and you also know where we are in our relations with Pakistan. So I will leave it at that. The real problem in our ties with Pakistan, as you know, is cross-border terrorism that needs to be addressed.
As diplomacy plays out in India, the 2,006-kilometer-long Durand line flares again. Kabul denies providing safe haven. Islamabad remains unconvinced. The démarche formalizes this distrust. A démarche delivered, 11 soldiers buried, and an allegation that expands the conflict beyond border. In this tightening triangle of Islamabad, Kabul and New Delhi, even as violence erupts within its own frontier, Islamabad looks outward for answers.
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting you this exclusive report from Kerala on the long-form story. We've heard of so many cases of people being trafficked from Kerala, people going missing from Kerala. But this chilling case linking job promises, cross-border trafficking, allegations, and a fatal shooting is raising serious questions for authorities in Kerala. 3 men who traveled to Jordan on tourist visas were allegedly abducted, shot while attempting to cross a border. 2 survived with injuries and 1 never returned home. Investigators have named Biju Jalas as the key accused, but despite an FIR and a rejected bail petition, he remains untraceable. Our ground report from Kerala examines the testimonies of survivors, the family's search for justice, and questions surrounding the investigation, and whether these traffickers, after all, are being investigated, are being shielded in Kerala.
Three men from Kerala who travelled to Jordan on the tourist visa issued by the Jordan ministry. A year ago, all 3 were abducted and shot while attempting to cross the border. All were the residents of Kerala who left their homeland in search of a livelihood. 2 returned, bruised, tormented, and terrified. 1 never came back.
Some months back, several people living in Pondura, Tumba, and other parts of Tiruvananthapuram were taken to Jordan by promising a better job in Israel. These people are dreaming of a better life, trusted the promises of Baiju Elias, the key accused in the human trafficking case registered at Karakutam police station. After reaching Jordan, 2 people died. One among them was shot dead by Jordanian soldiers. Several others came back with the support of Indian embassy in Jordan. So now they are struggling hard to move their life ahead.
The man on your screen, Biju Jalas, just another ordinary citizen, yet behind his everyday routines lurked a sinister plan, a mastermind from Kerala working for a nexus that operated from Jordan. A year later, he's free and absconding, but the question is the police truly trying to track him down? Our investigation will not only expose the operations of Biju Jalas, but also reveal the cracks within the Kerala police even after the court rejected his bail plea. And the families are still reeling from the trauma, still waiting, each bruise a haunting reminder of what they endured.
This family but has not registered any case so far. Now they say they don't want to go legally against Biju Jalas, as the people who filed the complaints did not get justice. And what's the point of registering a case with the police who are taking a cold approach in the cases which are already registered? ഈ ബിജു ജലാസിനെ എങ്ങനെയാണ് പരിചയം?
ബിജു ജലാസ് നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടുകാരനാണ്. പിന്നെ നമ്മുടെ മരിച്ചുപോയ അളിയൻ്റെ ഫ്രണ്ടും കൂടെയാണ്, ക്ലാസ്മേറ്റും കൂടെയാണ്.
പുള്ളി ജോലി തരാമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാണ് കൊണ്ടുപോയി?
അതെ, ജോലി തരാമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാണ് കൊണ്ടുപോയി.
എത്ര ശമ്പളം, എത്ര രൂപ കൊടുത്തു, എത്ര ശമ്പളം തരുമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു? 3-3.5 ലക്ഷം രൂപ ശമ്പളം കിട്ടുമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. ഞാൻ 5 ലക്ഷം രൂപ സഹകരണ ബാങ്കിൽ നിന്ന് ലോൺ എടുത്ത് കൊടുത്തു. ആ ലോൺ എടുത്ത് കൊടുത്തതിൽ സാക്ഷി ഒപ്പിട്ടേക്കുന്നതും ബിജു ജലാസ് തന്നെയാണ്. നിങ്ങൾ അവിടെ നടന്ന സംഭവങ്ങൾ, ഈ നിങ്ങൾ പറയുന്ന പോലെ ബാബ ആൾ കണ്ട കാര്യങ്ങളും എങ്ങനെയാണ് എന്നൊന്ന് ചുരുക്കി പറയും. എന്താണ് അവിടെ സംഭവിച്ചത്?
ബിജു നമ്മളെ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ട് നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ ബിജു വരുമെന്നാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ ഇസ്രായേലിലോട്ട് ഞാനും കൂടെ വരും, നിങ്ങളുടെ കൂടെ പേടിക്കണ്ട, ഞാനും കൂടെ വരുമെന്നാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. അവിടെ ചെന്നപ്പോൾ ബിജു പറഞ്ഞു ഇല്ല, അവിടെ ബാബ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന അയാളുടെ കീഴിൽ കൊടുക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. ഇന്നലെയും ഒരു 4-5 പേര് പോയിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് വീഡിയോ ഒക്കെ കാണിച്ചു തന്നു. 4-5 പേര് പോയിരുന്നു. സക്സസ് ആയിട്ട് അവർ അവിടെ എത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ട്.
ഇപ്പോഴാണ് ഈ പട്ടാളക്കാർ വെടിയുയർത്തുന്നൊരു സാഹചര്യത്തിലേക്ക് എത്തിയത്.
അവർ കാറിൽ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ട് നമ്മളെ ഒരു തുറസായ സ്ഥലത്ത് കൊണ്ടിട്ട് ഇറക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. നമ്മുടെ മൊബൈലിൽ അവരുടെ സിമ്മ് തന്ന് ആ സിമ്മ് എടുപ്പിച്ചിട്ട് ഒരു ഗ്രൂപ്പ് തുടങ്ങിയിട്ട് അയാൾ ലൊക്കേഷൻ ഇട്ട് തരികയായിരുന്നു. നമ്മൾ ലൊക്കേഷൻ നോക്കി പോകുമ്പോഴാണ് കമാൻഡോസ് ഷൂട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്.
ഓക്കെ, പിന്നീട് ബിജു ജലാസ് എന്താണ് പറഞ്ഞത് ഈ സംഭവം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട്?
ഞാൻ അതിനുശേഷം ബിജു ജലാസിനെ ഞാൻ കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല.
ഇതിനകത്ത് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു ഇന്റർനാഷണൽ അല്ല അന്തർദേശീയ തലത്തിലുള്ള എന്തെങ്കിലും റാക്കറ്റോ മനുഷ്യക്കടത്ത് സംഘങ്ങളുമായിട്ട് എന്തെങ്കിലും ബന്ധമുണ്ടോ ബിജു ജലാസിന്?
ബന്ധമുണ്ടോ ഇല്ലെന്ന് എനിക്കറിയത്തില്ല. കാരണം വെച്ചാൽ ഒരുപാട് പേരെ ഇപ്പം എൻ്റെ കാര്യത്തിൽ തന്നെ ഒരുപാട് പേരെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി എന്നുള്ളത് എനിക്കറിയാൻ സാധിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ പൂന്തറയിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരു 10 പേരെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി, അതിലൊരാൾ ഡെത്തായെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. പിന്നെ പുതുക്കുറിച്ചിയിൽ നിന്ന് കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇവിടെ തന്നെ തുമ്പയിൽ തന്നെ അവൻ്റെ ചേച്ചിയുടെ മോനെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി. അത് ഞാൻ വണ്ടി ഓടുന്ന ഓട്ടോ സ്റ്റാൻഡ് അടുത്താണ്, ആറാട്ട് വഴിയിൽ. അവിടെ അവനും വന്ന് സ്റ്റേഷനിൽ മൊഴി കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇങ്ങനെ ഇതിന് മുമ്പത്തെ ട്രിപ്പിൽ അവനെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി അവനെ പറ്റിച്ച് അവൻ അവിടെ കിടന്ന് ഇങ്ങനെ കഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് ആണ് തിരിച്ച് ജോലി ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് തിരിച്ച് ടിക്കറ്റ് എടുത്ത് നാട്ടിൽ കയറി വന്നു. അല്ലാതെ വേറൊരാളിനെ, ഒരു ബാബു എന്ന് പറയുന്ന അയാളുടെ വൈഫിനെയും കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ട് അത് ഭയങ്കര പ്രശ്നമായി. അവരിവിടെ വന്നിട്ട് ബിജു ജലാസിൻ്റെ അമ്മേനെ കൊണ്ട് അവരുടെ വീട്ടിൽ കൊണ്ട് പൂട്ടിയിട്ടിരുന്നു. ആ പൂട്ടിയിട്ടിരുന്നിട്ട് തിരിച്ച് ഇവൻ ക്യാഷ് കൊടുത്തതിന് ശേഷമാണ് തുറന്നു വിട്ടത്.
എന്തെങ്കിലും മറ്റേ തീവ്രവാദ സംഘങ്ങളുമായിട്ടോ മറ്റെന്തെങ്കിലും ഗ്രൂപ്പുകളായിട്ടോ ഇതിനെന്തെങ്കിലും കണക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടോ?
ഗ്രൂപ്പുകളുമായിട്ട് കണക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടോ എന്നറിയത്തില്ല. കാര്യം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ മരീനാട് നിന്ന് പോയ ഒരു കൊച്ച്, ആ കൊച്ചിന് വന്നിട്ട് പിക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പോയത് ഇവനാണ്. ആ കൊച്ചു പോയ ഏജന്റ് വന്നിട്ട് ചെന്നൈയിലാണ്.
എന്താണ് ശരിക്കും, എങ്ങനെയാണ് ബിജു ജലാസ്?
എൻ്റെ ചേട്ടൻ്റെ കൂട്ടുകാരനാണ്, ചേട്ടൻ്റെ കൂടെ ഒരുമിച്ച് പഠിച്ചതാ. അതിലുപരി എനിക്ക് വേറെ ഒന്നും എനിക്കറിയില്ല. പക്ഷേ പുള്ളിക്കാരന് ഭയങ്കര വിശ്വാസമായിരുന്നു.
ഈ ബിജു ജലാസ് ഒരാളെ അല്ല, ഒരുപാട് പേരെ പല രാജ്യങ്ങളിൽ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഇത് ജോലി ഇസ്രായേലിൽ തരാം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാണ് കൊണ്ടുപോയത്. എന്താണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ പിന്നിലുള്ള ഒരു നയം? എവിടെയാണ് ഈ ചീറ്റിംഗ് നടക്കുന്നത്?
ശരിക്കും എവിടെ വെച്ചാണെന്നൊന്നും എനിക്ക് അറിയത്തില്ല.
എന്താ ബൈജു ജലാസിന് മറ്റെന്തെങ്കിലും രാജ്യാന്തര കടത്ത് സംഘവുമായിട്ട് എന്തെങ്കിലും ബന്ധമുണ്ടോ?
ഇപ്പോഴാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ കുറേച്ച് അറിയുന്നത്. ഇങ്ങനെ ഈ മരണത്തിനോട് അനുബന്ധിച്ചാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ അറിയുന്നത് വേറെ ആൾക്കാർ ഇങ്ങനെ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ടുണ്ടെന്ന്. അതുവരെ എനിക്കൊന്നും അറിയത്തില്ലായിരുന്നു.
ഈ കൊണ്ടുപോകുന്നതിന്റെ പിന്നിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും മറ്റുദ്ദേശമുണ്ടോ? മറ്റുദ്ദേശം
വേറെ ഉദ്ദേശമൊന്നും ചേട്ടന് പോലും വിശ്വസിക്കത്തില്ലായിരിക്കും. കാരണം പുള്ളിക്കാരൻ അത്രയും വിശ്വാസമായിരുന്നു നാട്ടുകാരനും കൂടെ ഒരുമിച്ച് പഠിച്ചത് കൊണ്ടും. അതുകൊണ്ട് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ചേട്ടനും അങ്ങനെ ഒന്നും തോന്നി കാണത്തില്ല.
The FIR against Biju Jalas was filed on 18th June 2025. His bail plea was later rejected by the state courts. Yet, there is no sign of Biju Jalas. Where is he? No one knows. And when Republic reached out to the authorities, we were met with complete silence. The victims claim that the police probe is being obstructed and they point to the influence of Biju Jalas.
പോലീസ് അന്വേഷണം കാര്യമായി നടക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ?
പോലീസ് അന്വേഷണം കാര്യമായിട്ട് നടക്കുന്നുണ്ടോയെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ എനിക്കറിയില്ല. അറസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. ഒരു പത്രത്തിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ വന്നായിരുന്നു ജാമ്യം നിഷേധിച്ചെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട്. പക്ഷേ അതിനുശേഷം ഞങ്ങൾ കഴക്കൂട്ടത്ത് ഒത്തിരി പ്രാവശ്യം പോയായിരുന്നു. എസ് പറഞ്ഞു ചേട്ടൻ്റെ എല്ലാ ഡോക്യുമെൻറ്റ്സും ഒറിജിനൽ കൊണ്ടു കൊടുക്കണമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ്. അപ്പോൾ എല്ലാം ഞങ്ങൾ സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്തു. എനിക്ക് തിരിച്ച് തരികയും ചെയ്തു. പാസ്പോർട്ട് മാത്രം ഇപ്പോഴും സ്റ്റേഷനിൽ തന്നെയാണ്, പോലീസിൻ്റെ കയ്യിലാണ്. അപ്പം ആദ്യം പറഞ്ഞു ഇങ്ങനെ ഉടനെ അറസ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടാകുമെന്ന് ഇങ്ങനെ പറഞ്ഞതല്ലാതെ പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഉള്ളതായിട്ടൊന്നും എനിക്കറിയില്ല.
Republic senior correspondent Sankar CJ tracked down Biju Jalas' mother, who claims that two Keralites, Edison and Gabrielle, who were shot dead in Jordan, were taken to Jordan with their consent.
അവർ എഴുതി കൊടുത്ത് അവർ സൈൻ ചെയ്ത് എല്ലാം ചെയ്തു. രണ്ടും കൂട്ടുകാരന്മാർ എൻ്റെ വീട്ടിൽ ഇരുന്ന പ്രമാണം വരെ എടുത്തോണ്ട് പോയി. എല്ലാം കൊണ്ടുവച്ചൊക്കെയാണ് അവർ മൂന്നുപേരും കൂടെ പോയി. പിന്നെ അവിടെ സ്വന്തമായിട്ട് ജോലിയുണ്ട്, കമ്പനിയുണ്ട്, ഗവൺമെൻറ് ജോലിയുണ്ട്. അവൻ്റെ പിറകെ നടന്ന് എന്നെ കൂടെ കൊണ്ടുപോടാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. അങ്ങനെ അവർ മൂന്നുപേരും കൂടെ പോയാൽ.
But when asked about his son's whereabouts, the mother seems to be just unaware as the police is. So if the FIR was filed and the court rejected his bail, Biju Jalas and his own family is unaware of his whereabouts, then why is this man still walking free? How has he managed to abscond? Where is Biju Jalas? And why is police silent? Is this reach of a nexus larger than we understand, or the failure of the administration?
And that's it on this edition of the Long Form Story. In case you missed the show, you can catch the repeat Sunday, 12 p.m. Thanks for watching.
Amity has been ranked amongst the top 3% universities globally, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked quality.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी, चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा और प्योर मसाला।
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
The AI Summit is on. The focus is even more on AI, and with this talk of AI boom, jobs going, Vinod Khosla has made a comment which has created further panic in a panic-stricken.
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी, चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
The AI summit is on the focus.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Live and Breaking on Republic with me, Ishita Mitra. Now, viewers, Donald Trump has once again raised the global tariff, this time from 10 to 15%. We'll get you all the details on that. But first up, headlines. Stalin government under scanner on multiple scams coming to light in Tamil Nadu. BJP workers staged a massive nationwide protest against Rahul Gandhi. BJP holds a protest in Jammu, Delhi and Surat over youth Congress protesters storming into the AI summit at Bharat Mandapam. Alert issued for a possible terror threat to national capital. Intel sources flag a Lashkar plot to target places of worship. All right, viewers, are beginning this bulletin with a big breaking news coming in. Donald Trump has once again raised the global tariffs. Now, this time he's raised the tariffs from 10 to 15%. Now, on Truth Social, he shared a post, and let me quote him what he said. He said, "I, as the President of the United States of America, will be effective immediately raising the 10% worldwide tariff on countries, many of which have been ripping the US off for decades without retribution, to the fully allowed and legally tested 15% level." This is what Donald Trump wrote on Truth Social as he raised the tariff limit from earlier 10% to 15% now. Now, viewers, look at the chronology. After the India-US deal, the tariffs had come down to 18%. Then the Supreme Court of the United States struck it down, and now he raised it through an executive order to 10% earlier, and now it has come to 15%. All right. Ajay Bagga joins me on this with more details. Mr. Bagga, I want to ask you, Donald Trump refuses to budge. After the Supreme Court struck down his tariff policy, he signed an executive order raising the tariff to 10%, and now he's gone a step ahead to 15%. How do you read this?
Yeah, I think more or less the markets and the global economy have figured out that Trump tariffs are here to stay. What the Supreme Court has struck down is the president's powers. He cannot unilaterally raise tariffs under that emergency provision. But there are other provisions which he is using. They have also announced that under Section 301, they will be doing more investigations of various countries and various products and levying tariffs on those. This particular one is a 150-day tariff where the maximum that the president can unilaterally levy is 15%. So he has extended the 10% to 15%. Markets were anticipating a move like this because given the line of questioning the Supreme Court had done, it was more or less certain that the Supreme Court would strike down Trump's unilateral move as unconstitutional. But they have not struck down tariffs per se, nor have they commented on the refunds. So that has got factored in that Trump tariffs will come back through one of the 4 other alternative routes that are available to him.
All right, Mr. Baga. Now also joining us on the broadcast is John Rossomando, geopolitical expert. Thank you, Mr. Rossomando, for joining us on Republic. I want to ask you, Donald Trump is and his tariff policy, it seems, is here to stay. He's now raised the global tariff to 15% earlier from 10%. How do you read this?
Well, I read it as Donald Trump being Donald Trump. You know, whenever he's challenged, he digs his heels in, and that's the way he has always worked. You know, if you want to, deal with President Trump, you deal with President Trump the way that, like someone like Erdogan has, by appealing to, how nice he is and so forth, and maybe he'll back down. But I just think that the global leaders need to read Trump better in order to get him to do things their way.
Right. Also, the thing is, he continues to weaponize tariffs as his policy. It's no longer about economics. He continues to use it to get leverage with allies and also with adversaries.
Well, that's just the way he's negotiated. I mean, going back to when he was a real estate developer, he always would use carrots and sticks to get what he wants. I mean, this is just the art of the deal on a global scale.
Right, of course. So it's more like my way or highway with Donald Trump. But I want to ask you the impact of this 15% global tariffs on the economy worldwide. What are we looking at?
I think we're looking at a greater shift toward China as a result of it, because we're seeing Canada, the Europeans moving closer to China because they are starting to see the United States as an unreliable partner and ally. So I think that's the net outcome, is the acceleration of a more China-centric global economy.
Right. A lot of countries for past 1 year, they have been negotiating with the US to bring down the reciprocal tariffs, and now it's got to 15%. So are we staring at a tariff war? Then, we could also expect a response from China?
Well, I think you'll see more of these tariff wars, and I think that in the long run, it could be difficult for the global economy